I'm just saying.
And now we will go on to one of my favorite characters ever since The Sorcerer's Stone, McGonagall.
Yes.
Role model of a fictional character. Everything about McGonagall in this movie was just perfect. From her, when she first came up and confronted Snape.
That duel was it? I don't know if it was the first clap of the night, but that was an instant, no hesitation clap from our audience.
Yeah.
I would say that was more interesting to me than the Harry Voldemort duel.
It was.
In the way that they used magic. Snape was just a ninja with his cape, and it was exactly what we wanted, and we were invested in those two characters, I think, more than we were in Harry and Voldemort, possibly just because we know that they're gonna...
Yeah. Well, and you could also, once you get to the end of the movie and you realize that Snape probably doesn't want to kill a woman that he's been friends with since forever, because you know that they're both a powerful witch and wizard, and here they are going at each other, and McGonagall she's throwing fire at him, and all he does is deflect.
So fast. Yeah.
So it's so fast.
And they're both so smart. I think it's because they're both intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with Harry, he's a young wizard, even though he's
very untrained,
the chosen one.
Tell.
It's not actual wand dueling, it's like holding on to your wand really strong. Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, favorite line from McGonagall. I've always wanted to do that spell. Not in the book, but I love that they added it.
And I love that they not only kept her severity when she looked at Harry and told him that it was good to see him again, because she's McGonagall and she's very together. But then when she had that little slip, right before all hell broke loose, where I wanted to use that spell, it rounded out her character, for the ending.
It's true. When would you ever use that spell?
I mean, what?
Probably the first teacher in millennia to use that spell for Hogwarts.
Yeah. We also wanted to touch on the topic of the characterization of Voldemort, which was very different in this movie than it was in some of the previous ones. When they first had Voldemort in the Goblet of Fire, he was almost manic, and you could tell it was because he was in this new body and he was running around.
Yeah.
And he would gesture wildly. In your face, out of your face, picking Harry up and throwing him and sweeping across the ground in these huge gestures. And by the end, and I know that a good deal of it was because he's slipping because these Horcruxes are being destroyed, but he began to seem like kind of a weakening, snapping, breaking dictator that you find in other stories, but which I think is another reason that the duel was so anticlimactic, because you could tell he was already getting weak, where
there was never any doubt.
There was never any doubt that he would be defeated.
Yeah.
And even though you read the book, you want that build where you're like, oh, but it could happen. That's why this is so tight. And when he had all those little emotional freakouts, and part of Voldemort's fear, aspect of his fearfulness, to me, is because he's so Fearsomeness.
Grammar note. Sorry.
Part of Voldemort's fearsomeness in the books is that he's so cold. He's like a snake. He's like a reptile. But you had all these scenes of him kind of starting to break down and lose it.
Although I will say, stuff that I think Rowling edited in the books, they added in the movies, the bloodbath aspect of Voldemort.
At Gringotts?
Was chilling. Just
that was perfect.
That was so very real to me in this idea of or just, there's one moment where he's he's just, one of his followers is Master dead. You know that, yeah. Those moments to me, it was maybe a little too much, but at least the Gringotts moment was walking barefoot through blood. That was Carrie moment for me or something.
Well, see, I think the difference there is that when Harry would, get these flashes from Voldemort, and he told Ron and Hermione, it's he's wounded, but it's it makes him more and more dangerous. But you never got that feel. It was he's wounded and he's losing it.
Yeah.
And if it was he's wounded and he's becoming more dangerous, then more scenes of that Death Eater who's Master and just immediately died. He's becoming unstable, but unstable just means that he's volatile. I mean, Ralph Fiennes can practically do no wrong, so I wonder if it was a director's choice change, or...
And I wonder how much of just the mask of not having a nose and how much facial expression you can actually give.
Yeah.
There's a lot happening with that. I'm not too
Yeah.
worried about it. Well, you don't have to have like warm fuzzies about Voldemort and worry about his whole character journey.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the epilogue, our final topic for the review.
19 years later. I know that before
The release.
before the release, there were some photos leaked of the original epilogue that they filmed, where most of the characters looked significantly older, like time hadn't treated them very well. And I will say that the new version of the epilogue is much better, at least in the aging of the characters. Although we did notice that apparently getting older just means comb-overs for men.
I think that it was easier to portray on Ron and Harry just for the balding effect. That's an easy go-to. Okay, Emma Watson, she's hot. You're just not going to be able to take that away.
No.
Unfortunately, I mean, she looked motherly, and
Yeah.
I think she did everything that she could have done to make herself look grandmotherly or whatever. But Bonnie Wright, somehow the little bouffant flip, I don't
She
know.
got the mom haircut going the way
The
that
mom
she
and the
carried
mom
herself.
purse, and you could tell she's totally like a Mrs. Weasley waiting to happen.
Yeah.
19 years later.
Props to Bonnie Wright on that one. For
Yeah. Yay, Bonnie Wright, this is your movie. One thing that I think is, I don't think I actually would have wanted this, but I thought it would be really cute if, right after we have our children are off to Hogwarts, like slow pan to the trio, and then it instantly cuts, or then it switches to Harry, Ron, and they draw their wands, and they're like, back to the Auror's office, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, the saga continues, like, they're not just boring parents, we changed the face of Auror's everywhere, and
Yeah. And see, I kind of wanted, this was my secret dream, to have, okay, before I say this, they played Leaving Hogwarts as the final song. Leaving Hogwarts was the final song in the score for the Sorcerer's Stone. Where he says, I'm not going home, not really. And that that swell of music, and the fact that they used it and they kind of brought it full circle was great. But I really, really wanted them to actually like put a cap on it. Maybe have the words "the end" or even
you can't just swell. You swell after every movie.
Exactly. But I would have loved to see the words "all was well" just on the screen with that swell, and then you could go to the credits. It just ended, and I felt like they maybe didn't quite do justice to this saga that spanned, including the books, like 14 years.
I think they were trying to avoid being corny, and I understand that, but at the same time, this is Harry Potter, and I feel like, I think we would allow that for you. Like, I wish that they had, but see, if they had redone that and then it ruined it, then I would have hated them more, so maybe it was better.
I just want to
Yeah.
But, okay, so, overall, we collectively loved the movie. It was definitely the strongest one, just because they kept in so many little details, and they did do the whole kind of plugging for the fan service.
And its overall emotional impact was there.
Yeah.
Just like the books, you cried where you wanted to cry. I personally cried at least 4 times.
At least.
The entire I open up the clothes scene, it wasn't just like trickles, it was like
Waterworks.
my nose was, I was trying to hold it together.
Mm-hmm.
It was really touching. Like,
It was good.
I'm thankful that they did that right.
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, no one will probably ever see this from the cast or crew, but thank you. That was 14 years. Most of us don't really remember a time before Harry Potter was a huge part of our lives.
Some in the cast and crew don't remember a time before they started doing Harry Potter.
Exactly. And just for the entire experience, thank you.
And J.K. Rowling, obviously. Thank you for allowing them to be made into movies and prolonging the lifespan of Harry Potter just a little bit longer.
Rowling is our queen.
All right, well, we hope you've enjoyed this review of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Now make sure to leave us your reactions and responses to various parts of the movie in the comments. Send us a video response. We would love to hear what you have to say about it, and we will see you in our next video.